Welcome everyone! I'm Ray, and today we are going to take a look at the next chapters of Anti-Entropy visual novel. Well, last time was actually really exciting, and this could go very, very wrong. I'm scared, but really excited to see what happens. Sadly, I think we will have to say goodbye to Plank. But we have to find out who HA is. So that's going to be a thing, and honestly, let's just jump right into it, shall we? Don't forget, if you like this video and don't want to miss anything, please don't forget to like and subscribe, it would really make my day. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. So, it seems we are back in London. You two, what are you on about whispering like that? Twintails complains while tossing everything she's carrying straight into Vel's arms. The danger! With great difficulty, the young man manages to grab one bag after another as they fly towards him in quick succession. Oh, poor boy! In a state of panic, he spits out, "We're in the middle of the street. What should we do if something breaks?" "You pay." Tesla shrugs matter-of-factly. Oh god, you're being too much of a bully. Since the Finn was left over on the other side to handle the translation and archaeological work, you should now automatically assume his male duties. Oh wow. Is that too hard to understand? Oh, and if Plank had not run off to Vienna, she could have also shared these menial tasks with you. It's indeed hard to understand. Perhaps it'd be better to ask why a person like you had to go everywhere and buy bags upon bags of useless stuff. And wasn't it you who clearly said, no problem, you two can go ahead and leave us? To translate for you, she's actually asking you what we were just talking about. Einstein, who is leading the way by herself, stretches lazily and explains without looking back at Welt. What? Is that really her intent? Hey, I'm not that awkward, alright? I beg to differ. So you should respond to her. Eins is introducing you to the history of Northern Ireland and the city of Londonderry, something that Eins is very familiar with. Refusing to acknowledge Twintails' complaints in the slightest, Moped speaks according to standard protocol, as though she were minding her own business. And in so doing, to show you how Celtic culture is gradually being eroded by Anglo-Saxon culture? I have never heard that, I'm sorry. Just now I should be detailing the differences between Scotland, Wales and Ireland. What the... After hearing the actual details of the conspiratorial whispering between Einstein and Vale, Tesla's expression instantly brightened. Last time you said you'd been to Ireland, was it actually here? At that time it was not easy to buy air tickets, so I left from here for New York by ship. It was the first time I left home for long distance travel. I was quite happy, actually, although the time spent on the journey was rather long. Ah, was that 20 years ago? Huh? Tesla, it was 9 years ago. Your answer was off by more than 20 years ago. How old were you yourself? Oh, youthful big sister. So is it a younger Plank right now? According to the itinerary, today we will rest here for a day, then we will cross the Atlantic. We have a rare day to spend on land. Is there anything you want to play? Teacher, why are you acting like a child in school? Instead of wasting time playing, I feel it's better if we just find a comfortable place to do some light reading. Fräulein Einstein, are you trying to make me happy or sad? No, today you must accompany me and we shall do this and that together. Let's go, we shall climb the city walls. She was fun though. You still remember such things so clearly. I say, when I was 7 or 8, those places my grandpa took me to. I've long since forgotten what they're like. Anyway, it wasn't the Croatian... countryside. Some backwater where birds won't even bother crapping in. Wasn't particularly interesting anyway. No, I also don't have much of an impression of what happened when I was young. It's just a coincidence that I retain this fragment of memory. Huh? But if one was interested enough in a place, they would naturally seek a lot of information about it. Slowly, one would become as familiar with the local customs as they are with the back of their hand. It's indeed horrifying, a theorist's obsessive pursuit of knowledge. At any rate, it's better than those experimentalists who blow the roof off at the drop of a hat. Hey! Oh, and that's better yet again than those experimenters who destroy the world at the flick of a switch. Hey, that's even more outrageous! So, on the 5th weekend of October 1955 AD, 3 young souls, 2 women and 1 man, in a burst of laughter and jeering, ascended the walls of Londonry, the best preserved urban defensive structure in all of Europe since the Age of Enlightenment. At that moment, they would have never thought that in this Irish city they would experience one of the most important events of their lives. Oh, okay. Oh god, okay. I'm getting a little scared. Londonderry was originally only called Derry. Of course, it has nothing to do with the Delhi in India. Instead, it comes from the Irish Dair, meaning oak forest. Later, a London Chamber of Commerce came here to colonize and develop the land, so they assigned the prefix London to the city's name. People from the colonial period seem to enjoy naming things like this. Whether it's New York or Rhode Island, there are no few examples of people directly copying a European place name. Because it was a city developed by Londoners. Einstein continued her explanation unceasingly, completely ignoring the side commentary from Tesla. Whether it was in the choice of location or the planning of its central urban district, in both respects, the city deliberately imitated London. From the current point of view, the main difference is probably that the water quality of the River Foyle is much better than the River Thames. Like the London City Wall, the Derry City Wall was also arranged in an approximate square or diamond shape. This was relatively rare for European cities. Of course, compared to London, the names of the city gates here are much more arbitrary, such as the Ship-Quay Gate, right in front of us, so named because the gate faces the quay for overseas shipping. Similarly, going clockwise from the east, we see such gates as the Quay Gate, Bishop's Gate, and Butcher's Gate. Derry is one of the few virgin cities in European history whose walls have never been breached since her founding. In 1689, she experienced a 105-day siege, but was able to hold firm. Be that as it may, ultimately, didn't it also have something to do with the remoteness of this place? I mean, I like we're getting a little history story here. History lesson. Twin Tails retorts somewhat incredulously. No, no, no. At the time, it was an important hub connecting the British mainland with her American colonies, and many Irish immigrants set off from here for the New World. Indeed, there is so much history. It feels like you've always been interested in Ireland, am I right? Actually, it all started here, from this very city. When you realize the beauty of a culture, you will voluntarily search and dig up more information. Ireland is such a place to me. Shouldn't it be similar to someone else's interest in India? She's right. Indeed, I have read many books on Indian philosophy. However, unlike your situation, it is completely impossible for me to wholeheartedly embrace Indian culture. Huh? Is it really that hard to understand? A caste system that divides people into 4 classes from high to low. Such a system should be extinguished. That wasn't what I meant just now. Indeed, Tesla, you don't need to be so sensitive around such topics. Having said that, about that clue we specifically came for, do we really have a clear objective? Of course we do. Wait a moment. Right here. What was originally a mere jaunt around the 1 mile that is the Derry City Wall Did we find a clue? Are we detectives again? Has now evolved into something more, as Mophead suddenly lies down in front of a cannon on the wall, taking out a flashlight from her pocket and holding it in her mouth. What? Why so sudden? Yes, indeed, what's going on here? Welt and Tesla both seem puzzled. There are still 24 such cannons left. Oh? So what's so special about this one? Twintail shrugs, conveying her confusion. This one is also nothing special. Huh? It's just that the pointer jumped. Einstein pulls out some army green device from her front pocket. What's this? A Geiger counter? Is there a radioactive source here? No. This is the Trace Honkai energy detector that I let Ada convert from a Geiger counter some time ago. Oh! Doesn't it look fashionable? Fashionable? I say it looks pretty intimidating. Twintail sneers and turns up her nose at Mophead's fashion sense. Wait, who's Ada? An assistant, just an assistant. Not much different from that Finn. Rather than gossip about that, let's first find this information left behind by that other party. I'm sure I have heard the name. I am pretty sure I have heard the name. I wish I could puzzle the pieces together right now, but my mind doesn't quite want to. Well... Mophead places her hands together in a style mimicking Sherlock Holmes. The story may have just begun. Here. After some length of time, Mophead, who had already been lying flat on the ground, points her finger towards a position on the underside of the cannon, and both companions also notice an abnormally painted layer of black pitch. Einstein glances around and, seeing that no one else is nearby, takes out a knife and scrapes the body of the cannon a few times. And a line of silver inscription is clearly revealed. That's interesting. The innocent queen has both her eyes blindfolded. H.A. Okay, with blindfolds, I always think of... I can never remember the name. But the goddess of judgment is oh my god, I'm sorry. I knew it. I swear I knew it, guys. Is it Athena? No. Yes? We will probably find out in a second. But H.A. really likes to just guide us with some clues. Really detective-like. I love this. Queen? Is this someone from British history? But what queen would be blindfolded? It couldn't be just some ignorant rambling nonsense. Is it some kind of metaphor, like John the Baptist or Marie Antoinette? John the Baptist, Marie Antoinette, what do you mean? I was just speaking nonsense, don't mind me at all. It's not like I have a fetish for violin aesthetics or anything. I don't understand at all, I'm absolutely confused. Correct. Staying aloof from the awkward atmosphere brewing between the two, Mophead appears to arrive at an epiphany, suddenly bringing her hands together into a single clap. The execution of Lady Jane Grey. Oh. Ah! There is indeed such a painting. The subject of the painting, Queen Jane Grey. She is blindfolded, about to be executed by an executioner. Oh, okay, okay. It seems that we may be spending the night on a boat. Tomorrow, we shall be making a visit to the National Gallery. That's so... Oh my... Guys. When I was a little younger, and even now, I'm such a big fan of the 3 question marks? Is that what it's called in English? Anyway, those little detectives, you know? The 3 friends who search and just try to solve every problem, every mystery. I love that. I read a lot of books from them. And this just feels so much like this is I love it. It's just like a detective story taking me with it, and I love it. Even though You have to be a little smarter than I am to solve his puzzles. I mean, HA. Honestly, I don't know if it's a his, but they are puzzles. With the music. Ascending slowly up a flight of steps and leaving Charing Cross Underground Station via a narrow exit, the group find themselves greeted by the iconic landmark of the Empire. Perhaps symbolic of the fact that the sun never sets on the Empire. Even on a cold, wintry Monday, there is no shortage of tourists. So this is the center of Greater London. Looking at Nelson's column towering and piercing through the clouds, Welt cannot help but let out a sigh, with wonder and awe typical of a tourist. The inscription next to the memorial column indicates that it was built in honor of Admiral Horatio Nelson, the British national hero who led the Royal Navy to overwhelming victory against Napoleon's combined fleet at the Battle of Trafalgar in 1885, with the unfortunate cost of his own life. His resourcefulness was unsurpassed, and his valor was unmatched as the bravest of the coalition forces, whether it was in the Atlantic or on the Nile, or in Copenhagen, or at Trafalgar. He repeatedly led England to decisive victories. But in doing so he lost his right eye, then his right arm, and finally his own life. The British were not all crafty diplomats. They were also industrious folk, a tenacious people willing to put their lives on the line. But alas, the glory of the Empire was too dazzling, and this in turn played no small role in obscuring and concealing the individuals who made great achievements in her name. England expects every man to do his duty. Recalling Planck's warning on the plane, the young man named Welt once again makes a secret resolution to himself. Huh? Where are the others? The art museum is to the north. Einstein grudgingly pulls on Welt's sleeve. Don't get lost. The items in your backpack are very important to us. Tesla has long since been dissatisfied, takes this opportunity to double down on Welt. How can someone like you ever survive, one who is so oblivious to everything? I reckon, even if you train him like a pet penguin to go to the market and buy fish for you, he still end up getting lost. Ugh. He really does not have it easy. The National Gallery sits to the north, facing south, with a set of weathered, darkened Roman columns standing across the street from Trafalgar Square, silently narrating the glorious bygone days of the old empire. A heavy and profound history, laden with the sediment of life, is deposited upon the impassive architecture. This unique sense of oppression permeates through the gloomy cold haze of London, and occasionally reminds people of how formidable the violent institutions of nationhood and society can truly be. And the people who dealt regularly... Guys, yesterday I was able to read everything pretty good. Like, for me, it was pretty good. Today, it doesn't work. And the people who dealt regularly with these institutions, without the reckless bravery of Spartacus, the fierce cruelty of Robespierre, the astute wisdom of Benjamin Franklin, and the determined willpower of Vladimir Lenin, could they have really accomplished anything at all? Hey, wake up! Yeah, it's not as good as the British Museum, but it's still worth a visit. Not satisfied with Welt's despondent and pathetic appearance, Tesla slaps him hard on his shoulder. It's not like Tesla had said something weird. Einstein, who is leading the way, also seems a little discontent. Huh, what weird thing? Obviously it's the truth. The state of one's emotions is born from the struggle between excitement and depression. Since you induced him towards one extreme, how can you blame him for not being at the other end? No need to speak such baffling philosophizing nonsense.
Philosophizing.
No need to speak such baffling philosophizing nonsense. It's totally not cute. Welt, what do you think? Excitement or depression? What is the essential force behind human life, or should I say human reason? Or, from the perspective of aesthetics, which one is more cute? What? Huh? The young man, his mind still wandering, had clearly not paid any attention to Moped's question. I think all girls are cute no matter what they're like. Oh boy. Oh boy. Girls are justice. Oh boy. For some reason, Twintail's face suddenly turns to a shade of red, then a shade of purple. Purple? Oh. Moped seems unconcerned with the answer, or the fact that her original question remained unanswered. I wanted to ask Mr. Welt what he thought of the beauty of humanity, but I'll take that as an answer. Ugh. What a mediocre man. She gives him a hard flick on his forehead. Yeah, that was justified. Honestly. Oh. I didn't expect researchers like you to be interested in damaged paintings. One of the management staff speaks while leading the way in the rear promenade of the National Gallery. The pot-bellied, balding, obese, middle-aged man is holding in his hand a wooden rack filled with hanging keys. The small metal keys clang incessantly against each other, in unison with his swaying, waddling steps. A flood of the Thames in 1928 destroyed much of our collection. Even now, the full extent of the damage has not been clearly appraised. The only thing certain is that the painting you're looking for is one of those in the ruined collection. Wait, what do you mean by even now it has not been clearly appraised? The other person's statement clearly refreshed in Tesla's mind her acute awareness of bureaucratic inefficiency. Of bureaucratic inefficiency. After all, there are more than 2,000 world-famous paintings in this museum. The manager displays his hands in a helpless, conceding gesture. How much damage each painting has incurred can only be evaluated when the restoration is complete. You must understand, a master can only restore 2 or 3 paintings in a year. It's all quite a troublesome affair. So this painting we are looking for, is it a work that is relatively low in priority for restoration? Yes, it can be said so. After all, it is a modern work and it is difficult to rank above those older, more classical works. Let me tell you, even the famous and most highly esteemed Turner has several artworks that have yet to be restored. Saying this, the fat, balding uncle leading the group finally stops at the door of an old warehouse. This is it. I'll enter with you. Tesla's face makes an uncomfortable expression. We are conducting research of a most confidential nature. So I've heard. The fat, balding uncle does not budge. I don't care if you're MI5 or MI6, or whatever fancy getup. But in this museum, non-staff visitors must never be left unsupervised. No problem. Anton shrugs, indicating that she does not mind. Let's go in together. I really appreciate your cooperation. At least this lady still has some common sense. I'm only cooperating for your sake. Huh? What is that stench? I mean, it probably doesn't smell that nice, right? As the heavy door slowly opened with a creaking sound, a thick, musty scent, even heavier than the door, instantly permeates into everyone's nostrils. Even Tesla, who had once visited a century-old wine cellar in Vienna, is taken aback by the pungent odor. After a painting is affected by damp moisture, a certain amount of oil water admixture will form on its surface. And if it is sealed in an airtight warehouse at constant temperature, returning the door ball to its locked position. Oh, returning the door ball to its locked position, the fat uncle coughs a few times. If you think it through, the resulting product of fermentation, I'm afraid, is not much different from swill or hogwash in terms of its composition. Please don't describe it so disgustingly. It's the execution of Lady Jane Grey, right? No index cards have been made here, so we can only check them by hand one by one. With a meek smile, the fat uncle makes a statement even more demoralizing than the thick, musty smell enveloping them. Despite having sustained flood damage, the cultural relics are still cultural relics after all. The fat uncle takes great pains to shout orders so that Vale's action can be synchronized with his own. There is still considerable weight in the picture frames, and the action of carefully lifting up and putting down each frame, repeated dozens of times, has already given both men sore hips and aching backs, their bodies dripping with sweat. The goddess of discord, choosing the apple of contention in the garden of the Hesperids. There are a few turners here, riddled with holes and scars. What a pity. The destruction of Pompeii and Herculaneum. This one's already taller than me. Speaking of which, does anyone know the one we are looking for? How big is it? Ugh, this painting, will you two be okay? Upon seeing a work that seems to be as tall as a football goal post, Twintails hurries forward to assist. Miss, move a bit over there. Don't be more of a hindrance than a help. Alright, young lad, I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Heave! A board-shaped object, larger than a warehouse door, is lifted shakily from its stand. The burlap cloth wrapped around the painting flutters about, raining down annoying puffs of dust. Both hands occupied, Val tries to hold back his sneeze. His facial features contorted to resemble a twisted pretzel. Alright, let's continue to remove these wrecks that are probably older than me. Fat Uncle wipes the... Why are we calling him that? I think that's really, really mean and I don't like that. Wipes the sweat from his forehead and very carefully opens the sleeve containing the old oil painting, filled with copious stains, watermarks, and dust. This is it? Oh, did we? Oh, I want to see it. Oh, I like that. It really feels like we are being detectives. Tesla even has magnifying glasses. As soon as the old sleeve cloth is peeled open, a bright ivory white comes into view of the four around the painting. Upon a dim background, an innocent girl in a white dress is blindfolded, and an old man dressed as a priest leads her towards a cruel-looking chopping block. This is undoubtedly the execution of Lady Jane Grey, and it is, in fact, very well preserved. Impossible? How could it be possible? The art uncle, who is apparently experienced and knowledgeable in the field of fine arts, almost drops his chin for a moment. My god, not even a trace of mildew. But this painting... Evidently puzzling over other things, Twintails holds up a magnifying glass and passes around to the back of the giant painting. The signature area looks unchanged. Is there anything strange about this painting? Why, can this be considered miraculous enough? Of course, Art Uncle didn't understand what Tesla meant by strange. Do you remember where this painting was previously displayed? Little lady, you ask about this. Between laughter and tears, the fat I did it. Ah! The art uncle... Between laughter and tears, the art uncle holds out his hands. Yet during the 1928 flood, I was nothing more than an ignorant grammar school student. Having thus understood that she was seeking information from an idiot, Tesla sticks her tongue out. Not enough clues. Clues? Uncle Art is still as confused as before, his mind in a fog. I actually have a conjecture. From Val's backpack, Einstein takes out a device that resembles a tube amplifier. May I use it to scan the canvas? Could it be? No, it can't be. Seeing this, Tesla also seems to realize an incredible possibility. Like, that this picture is fake? I mean, that's my thought right now. Because if it is so perfectly restored, either it has been restored in secret, or it got changed, you know? That's what I think right now. This toy of yours. It doesn't release any radiation waves, does it? Art Uncle stares at the suspicious device with a guarded expression. It just emits microwaves in a specific band. It has no destructive power. It will induce the activation of a certain rare element and cause it to separate from its original mixed state. Oh. For a moment, Art Uncle reacts with nothing more than rubbing his balding forehead. Wait, are you going to use that toy to squeeze or draw something out of this canvas? It can be understood as such. No, no, no. If I let you do that, wouldn't the painting be ruined? Unlikely. Moped takes out a flashlight from her pocket and shines it on the canvas from the side at an angle. Indeed. Huh? Art Uncle remains oblivious. Please observe carefully. The young girl explains while maintaining the angle of the flashlight. Do you see? On the surface of the painting, there is a thin film. Protective lacquer? No, there is no protective lacquer that is able to keep a painting in such a pristine state. Art Uncle's expression becomes even more confused. On careful inspection, it can be noticed that the film even has a slight metallic sheen. Oh! What is this? I have never seen or heard of such a thing. If you permit, we can test it now. Moped begins cranking the handle of the machine in her arms. She's ready. I said that you are not allowed to damage the picture. Art Uncle suddenly becomes anxious. If we pull some kind of nonsense, you and I will all be deemed sinners against humanity. You are being overly dramatic. After we're done, this painting will simply become as fragile as the other normal collections. This substance on the painting is very important to us. To just let it sit here, merely protecting a painting, may be a huge waste of its value. So, did someone... Like, by the time that the painting was made, did HA, in that time, kind of put this protective layer on it? Or are we just wanting to have the layer to find out more? If you continue to refuse us, our organization will make use of other options. I don't mean to bring ill tidings, but when that moment comes, I fear that you and your staff will find that you've bitten off more than you can chew. Ugh. Little lady, I'm not blind to reason, but even if the procedure is non-destructive to the painting itself, I believe there's one thing you still need to explain clearly. Once you've extracted that thin film, what value is there in it? From an ethical point of view, why should our art museum allow you to do such a thing? To foretell the fate of humanity. Moped speaks in an icy cold voice like never before. Oh. Huh? Before Uncle Manager could recover from his dumbstruck state, Einstein has already aimed the machine at the center of the canvas. She is really serious about this. Does she have a suspicion what this all is about? Initiating resonant form solium extraction. Oh wait, is that... I have no idea what solium is, so... So that's solium then, or what? Everybody, please cover your ears. Of course, that is the end of a chapter. Alright, shall we take a look in the next one? I mean, we're not done yet, right? And I really want to know right now. You lot... What? 2 minutes have passed. Since Einstein started operating the strange device, the balding uncle, who had before been so insistent on supervision, had already bolted out of the room, howling and screaming. Welt! Plug your own ears! Don't mind her! Aww! Aww! Oh, I love that. That's so cute. Okay, that is really adorable. Wow. No, I can't let go now. Please don't do that. Take care of yourself first. I'm fine. Einstein, you already strained your ears enough with the high-pitched tone, okay? With the mosquito tone. You know, you can let Welt do a little bit for you. The incessant sound of metal grating upon metal is loud enough to make one break out in goosebumps and cold sweat. But amidst such noise, only Moped remains calm as per usual. At this moment, she is fully focused, devoting her attention to operating the tube amplifier at a steady rhythm. If anyone was ever fortunate enough to have witnessed drops of mercury vibrating on a loudspeaker horn, it may be easier for them to imagine what is happening before the eyes of Welt and company. As the microwave emitting machine operates steadily at full load, The protective film of the painting slowly becomes opaque, revealing the unique silvery white luster of metal. Drops of liquid metal continuously seep out and vibrate on the canvas, as though there were beds of sweat, and gradually the metal begins to separate from the painting. Interesting. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes 45 seconds. 2 minutes 55 seconds. The noise becomes louder and louder, and every second feels like a century in hell. Hey, you idiot! Listen to me! If you continue like this, your ears won't be able to stand much more of it. But are we not worried about Einstein? I mean, yeah, but couldn't Tesla and Welt, I mean, theoretically go out, or Tesla go out and get something to cover Welt's ears? Or... No, but... Please don't be like that. Eins will be fine. But why? I mean, I would be worried about her too. The silver beads of sweat gradually seep out from the painting, slowly gathering into a cherry-sized metal droplet under the canvas. To extract a small drop of liquid metal from a painting more than 2 meters tall would have been quite a magnificent spectacle, if it were not for the terrible noise that accompanied it. If one must describe it, the sound of a steel spoon being rubbed vigorously against an iron pan would probably be the I don't like that. Alternatively, using fingernails to scratch a blackboard, or using a ballpoint pen to forcefully score a nylon umbrella. Perhaps these can also be used to achieve a similar effect. Yeah, I get it. It's not a good sound. You didn't have to do that. Aww. What silly nonsense are you saying? That was the one thing I could actually do. Fool. Sit down now. Don't speak. Rest for a while. At the moment, your auditory nerves are in a state of overload. Whoa. Tesla pulls her fingers out of her ears and begins forcefully brushing at her twin tails, which for the moment look just a tad disheveled. Haven't heard that in a while. That was really quite invigorating. I already knew you were born with a resilience to the sound of metal scraping on metal, but the other two were not so fortunate, and look at them now. Oh. Huh. Welt needs no explanation, but the museum director who fled the warehouse is nowhere to be seen. Apologies. It is my fault for not explaining things thoroughly. As Tesla said, I am naturally immune to this kind of noise. How can you be immune to some noise? What? Is that a thing? Let's not bother ourselves with that loathsome big uncle. Twin Tails comes up to Welt's side and gives him a severe glance. But you? Are you well and truly incompetent? We asked you to plug your ears. Why didn't you listen? I know you were so worried about her, but she really isn't bothered by that sort of noise. Why did you have to be so stubborn, huh? Oh, I think she's really worried about him. Why did you not heed and follow our orders to protect yourself first? Do we know more or do you know more? Huh? Are we in charge or are you in charge? Oh. Oh. I mean, I get that she's worried, but okay. Don't you dare give me... Tesla. Moped interrupts Twin Tails by yelling her name. Welt, he had good intentions. Intentions. As a scientist, are you really going to explain motivation theory to me right now? Einstein. Disobedient as he is now, what if he encounters something more dangerous in the future? Do you wish to see him drown in his so-called compassion? You are an assistant, Mr. Welt. Your first and foremost duty is to be obedient. You do as we say. That has a... I mean, I understand where she's coming from. They definitely do know more about the things they are doing, so people should listen to them in that regard. But her saying this, I mean this sentence and like that, it gives off a weird feeling for me. Put aside your self-righteous ideals of compassion. It's fundamentally superfluous to our cause. And you, Einstein, don't you dare spoil him anymore. It's absolutely revolting. Irate, she strides up without once looking back. Huh. Is she... I mean, is she really mad or is she just really extremely worried because she cares for him? That's what I'm questioning right now because I'm not sure. Nestled in the back seat of the taxi, the young man remains anxious with a lingering fear of Dr. Twintail's anger. Yeah, I get that. But I... relax. Moped speaks without looking back, peering out of the window on the other side of the car. She just has a bad temper. But I was indeed too stubborn. From today onwards, you are not allowed to apologize. Huh? Don't add fuel to the fire. When we return, you should pretend as if nothing happened. What? Rest assured, she won't come back and pick a fight with you. Tesla isn't that petty of a person. As a matter of fact, at this very moment, she is most probably having a good drink at some bar. To drown out her guilt over having lost her temper at us. Okay. Yeah, okay, I get that. The taxi makes a turn near a golden statue and continues along the avenue on the north side. Outside the window to the left is a box-shaped piece of classical architecture, a building atop of which is planted a flag whose colors cannot be seen clearly by Welt. Buckingham Palace. The girl speaks, pointing in the direction of the rectangular building. Flying the royal standard instead of the Union Jack indicates that the Queen is present in the palace. Oh, interesting. The four colored blocks in the royal standard represent England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and her overseas territories. Because the Crown Prince bears the title of Prince of Wales, there is no symbol of a red dragon on the royal standard. You probably don't want to listen to such trivial nonsense. Look, give it some time and your mood will bounce back, okay? I love Einstein. Like, she's not only extremely cute and nice, but like, she acts coldly in a way, but she's really compassionate. Hey, looks like she really did give you a fright. Oh yes, she did. It's okay. I did say, although that person has a terrible temper, everything will be fine once her anger is gone. You, on the other hand, when you do see her next time, by all means necessary, stop being so cowardly and cringy. Then she might actually just hate you instead. That's right. Now that we have the Solium, it's time for you to meet Her Royal Highness of Lab 42. What? Huh? What? Not me. And of course, definitely not that ill-tempered woman. So, currently classified. The girl smiles vaguely and refuses to give any further answers. Interesting. So, is there another person or is it a machine? The taxi passes by the Wellington Arc and continues west along Knightsbridge. On this twilight of late autumn, the cool glow of waning sunlight is reflected by the roadside puddles. Upon seeing this scene, one cannot help but be reminded of an ominous verse from more than 2,000 years ago. Pale death beats equally at the poor man's gate and at the palace of kings. Oh, I like that. I do like that. The girl winds down her window, and her gaze turns to the luscious green of Hyde Park across the road. They have returned to the familiar Imperial Institute. Huh, okay. Lab 42's door is firmly locked, and the suitcases of the three travelers have been haphazardly left in the center of the entrance hall. All of those long words are giving me a headache. There are no signs of anyone else having returned earlier. Sure enough, she has gone to the pub. No need to worry about her. Oh, and don't worry about the luggage. Follow me. Moped, who seems to have a plan in mind, turns to the corridor on the right. The one place in the lab whose purpose is not yet clear to it. Ooh, will we see it? You should be feeling very concerned right now, right? No, it's not like that. Then you should be especially concerned. No, how do you say? I understand. You must be extremely concerned then. Extremely, extremely, extremely concerned. Correct? Confronted with this sudden and inexplicable obstinance, the young man can only put on a resigned expression, as if to say, there, I've lost to you. I knew it, I knew it. Mophead puts on an act of nodding her mop head. Come on, be moved to tears. Be excited enough to shed your clothes in exultation. It is time for you to prostrate yourself before the trump card of Lab 42. For some reason, when she says this, in that usual, consistent, unemotional, inorganic tone, combined with that faint, mysterious smile, she appears extraordinarily vexing to Welt. Moreover, she keeps the key inserted in the lock without actually turning the lock. Just then, were you deliberately mocking me? The poor young man shrugs, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Of course. It seems that after hearing that satisfactory response, the girl turns the key with a smile. I love her, she's so fun. I mean, it's honestly a different kind of fun. Oh, wow, okay, yeah, that's a computer or a machine. At the moment of the door opening, Welt already had reservations about what he may encounter inside. A cloud of ethereal pink fluorescent light is pulsating slowly before him, as though it were the heart of some fantasy creature. Okay. In the background, rows upon rows of devices installed and stacked together like telephone switchboards, emit an irksome electronic hum. Countless blinking indicator lights flicker unremittingly in the darkness. Before long, the fluorescent light suddenly vanishes, and a burst of sound emits inexplicably in the room, a chime similar to a musical scale being played on a theremin. Good afternoon, Ada. The girl appears not particularly surprised and utters a greeting towards the location where the fluorescent light had appeared before. Huh? Oh, what? Oh, that's cool. Good afternoon, Dr. Einstein. Ah, Mr. Assistant is also. Good afternoon. From the direction of the strange sound, the fluorescent light reappears and magically transforms into a cute humanoid silhouette, greeting the two of them. That's so interesting! Hello? Ada, please give a formal introduction to this fellow over here. I have already activated the image emulsion system. Oh, does she have a form? Mophead speaks without looking back, while adjusting and fiddling around with some of the telephone switches. Of course. Oh, okay. Who are you? Red and blue, that's really interesting. She has an interesting color palette. The human figure made of fluorescent light gradually becomes opaque and gently materializes in the center of the room as a young pink girl, much like a fairy tale character. Hello, this is Terminal Interface Prototype number 0042. My human name is Ada. A-D-A. I? Maybe I? Ida? She pronounces the last syllable of her name by deliberately plucking at her top palate with the tip of her tongue. Aida. Da. Okay. The action makes Welt recall somewhat uncomfortably of a controversial novel recently published in France. If you need to use the Lovelace system, you can hand over to me whatever problems you need solved. What is the Lovelace system? Thanks, yeah. Ada traces a line of unfamiliar characters in the air with fluorescent light. That's so cool! G-S-Z-Z-G-S-G. If we use your language, it will give such an abbreviation. Everyone thinks this title is too cumbersome to pronounce, so we call it the Lovelace system instead. Who gave the title? Wait, what's going on with that Cthulhu-sounding acronym just now? J something S something Z, what's it? Oh my god. Ada continues to write a line of even more unfamiliar characters. Jonah Shiba Chulaka Jai Shuvi Jaha. Large-scale primary high-speed Honkai energy calculation system. That's what it says when fully translated. Okay. Primary high-speed Honkai energy calculation system, okay. I give up. The young man stares at the gibberish in despair. Just tell me what sort of things you usually do. Weather forecast, weapon performance estimation, analysis of solium data. According to your definition of usual, that's about it. I don't know if this generalization is correct. The young man thinks, holding his chin. That is to say, compared to those extra large calculators from the other labs, are you also something similar? They are indeed similar to me, although they are much more primitive. The entity casually passes judgment upon the most cutting-edge computing devices of the time. Great, that's really interesting though. Huh. Primitive. Maintaining this level of an intelligent interactive interface currently accounts for 99% of my core module performance. Nevertheless, their computing power is still about 13 orders of magnitude weaker than my remaining 1%. That sounds like a lot. 13 orders of magnitude? Welt, who's not very good at mathematics, has no concept of such large numbers. 10 trillion. Oh. I can count that many times in the time it takes for them to calculate only once. Oh. Oh. Okay. In other words, my 1 second is equal to their 1000 years. She is way too high-tech. Well, no need to be surprised. Ada does not belong to this era. Huh? Does not belong to this era. What do you mean? That's right, a product of the previous era. That's the chief reason why Lab 42 hired Dr. Elias Nokyenvitanen. Chief reason. You mean, did he give Ada... Correct. He was effectively her tutor. The girl suddenly shrugs helplessly, as though she were bothered by something. Ada's name, image, and behavioral mannerisms were all driven by the tastes of that man. Ugh. The young man feels a chill run down deep his spine. The record in the Solium does not need translation to Einstein, Assistant Welt. Huh? There are two records. One is image data from this era, and the other is some kind of data encrypted by mathematical methods. Not unexpected. Display the image data first. Okay. Before her words had even ended, Ada's image of a fairy tale princess already disappears, to be replaced by a mirage-like landscape. It is a cave that looks quite similar to the Yellowstone ruins. Oh, tell me more, and I swear if this stops on a cliffhanger. A figure appears in their field of vision. It is a sisterly woman with black hair. She is wearing an antiquated Valkyrie bell suit, and her whole body is covered with blood. Oh. Oh! Oh, that's interesting. It should have started recording already. The sister in the image takes a deep breath. I am H.A. Seeing this means that you have already solved the initial puzzle I had left behind for you. I don't even know whether I should congratulate you or curse you. I guess you should already know of an organization called Schicksal. Maybe you are one of them. Oh, maybe you're even Otto Apocalypse himself. If it is indeed the latter, I really need to take a moment to thank God for that. Really? That would be good? Otto Apocalypse? Welt seems familiar with that name. Shh. Exactly that. Einstein furrows her brow and frowns, motioning him to keep quiet. You must already know what Honkai is. Naturally, it is impossible for the HA in the video to directly interact with them, but she continues to talk calmly, at her own pace. You must also know that the core belief of Schicksal is to eradicate the Honkai from the face of the earth. But unfortunately, this cannot be done. You may think that I am just overwhelmed by negative emotions. No, this is not the case. In the final Solium, you will find the cruel, irrefutable evidence. Please be mentally prepared for this finality. Ah, I know you must be wondering about certain things right now. As you may have figured out, the current solium you have just found is not the so-called final solium. Instead, that is a private transmission from me, an audio-visual segment, and also an encrypted message. Try to decipher it. Prove to me your technical skills. Huh. Interesting. That is so interesting. So, and she was in some sort of cave, just like that one. Maybe that was even where she died, if she was covered in blood and something big happened. Ah. Oh, it's so interesting. While I was playing the video, I analyzed the encryption method of the accompanying encrypted data. It reports restoring her anthropomorphic image. I predict that it uses a discrete logarithm of an elliptic curve over a finite field. Given that there is no current reference material in this field, preliminary estimates suggest that brute force decryption will take 3 months. Oh, how about at full capacity? Einstein bros furrow again. If all other scheduled arrangement and daily functions are suspended, it will still take about 4 weeks. I mean, that's still better than nothing, but... Dr. Einstein, is this an urgent task? Moppet takes a deep breath. No, I was just hijacked by curiosity, nothing more. Yeah, same as me, because... Please do it in 4 weeks and not a few months. Please do it as fast as possible. So, shall we adjust the scheduled arrangements? Wait. Einstein suddenly takes a step closer and stares down with a piercing gaze at the man who had not been all that helpful with solving the puzzles. Yes? The young man, who from the beginning simply couldn't keep up with the fast pace, stumbles back a step as if given a fright. To his surprise, the girl's face exhibits a trace of a sinister smile. Then I beg of you, during this time, please take responsibility, okay? Huh? Wait, what are you on about? Guys, that's not fair. Oh, that's so not fair. I really want to That is so mean. That is way too mean. Okay. Well, that was an interesting chapter. We played more detective. Got to see a really, really angry Tesla. And met Ada. Ada is really interesting. But I'm way more interested in the message from the past. Like, that is so interesting. And I mean, I want to know which time exactly then, like, she sent this Valkyrie sent the message, because it's just so interesting. By the way, if I'm asking things or if I'm saying I'm curious about something, I just want to find out. I don't want real answers for now. I just want to find it out faster. But that's really interesting. I'm so curious to see what happened in the past, because there must have happened something really, really tragic, is what I guess. And she would have liked Otto to see this, which is a little bit weird. I mean, it's probably just because we know what Otto does, but they don't, and the Valkyrie probably doesn't know either. I really want to know what she knows. Alright, guys, I hope you had just as much fun as I did. And again, if you liked it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I would really love that. And I really love you guys, and I really hope to see you again next time. Bye!